Okay, so we're going to study reflection. And a reflection is this is going to reflect over the x-axis. This can be also considered to be a sad graph. I like to say that the ones we just did with translations is they were happy because those graphs faced up. So even the U, the V, or the U faced up. And then this just flips it upside down. So I like to call it sad. So I'm going to show you this. So this is y, and plus it gives you an idea of how to do this, is equal to the absolute value. So in order to get those little absolute value, you go to functions, and you go to miscellaneous. Nope. Where's my little thing? I told you wrong. Oh, right there. That a to the absolute value. There's your absolute value. I'm going to type in x. So this just gives me that graph right there. Now I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to type in y is equal to negative absolute value of x. So y equals, and then I'm going to type in negative, and now this is going to be hit those absolute value signs of x, and notice that my purple graph just flipped it upside down. So I'm going to turn this one back on. There's my original. So now that purple one just made it flip upside down. It's exactly the same shape as my green one. It just made it flip. Okay, so now we're going to do this again. This time I'm going to do the x squared. So y is equal to x squared, x squared, and then I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, stretch it out so we can see. So this is kind of like my lovely little graph. And then I'm going to type it in over here. So now y is equal to, and now I'm going to have negative, and then I'm going to type in x squared. And so it just flipped it upside down. So there's my graph. It's just going to flip it upside down. It's pretty much the same shape. And that just flips it upside down. I like to call these sad. So when I reflect over the x-axis, that's just a sad graph. All right, so now we're going to go to the thing. So here it is. I give you this function, and now we've got to figure out what is that parent rule. Is this going to be an x squared? So is this going to be absolute value, or is this going to be quadratic? So my parent function, because this is u in shape, this is going to be quadratic. So that's going to be quadratic. And now this I didn't put on there, but y minus k, because we still have that translation. And now x minus h squared, and we're putting in this letter a in front. That's going to be my parent function, that letter a. And that letter a, so a, if it's positive a, then I'm going to say that this is a happy graph. That it's going to go like that. But if it is a negative a, then it is going to be sad, and it's going to go upside down. It's going to be a sad U. So that's where I'm talking about happy and sad. And it depends on if A is happy and sad. So we're still talking about our vertex. So my vertex is right there. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go over 4. And then this time I'm going to go down 2, negative 2. So I still have that I move right 4. Whoops, it helps if I could spell. So right 4 and down 2. The other thing is, and that the thing that we're adding this time is that this is sad. It's a reflect over the x-axis. Over the x-axis, it points upside down. It's a nice sad graph. So now my domain, when I go through and figure out this domain, my x values are not changing. They'll keep going because this graph can go bigger and bigger, and it can continue on down. So that's not going to change. So my value for my domain is all reals. Okay, the part that's going to change now is my range. This is the part that changes. Because if you look instead of going up, it points down. So everything, I'm going to go below that point. I'm going to transfer this over on my y-axis. And now this keeps going on my y-axis. So that point right there, this point on my y-axis is 1, 2. So y, instead of greater than, it is less than. Instead of greater than, it is less than. And then this value, -2. Again, the the y value of your vertex point, k, is still exactly the same as in your range. The only difference is, because this is a SAD graph, this becomes less than. And now we're going to write our function rule. So y is equal to an x. So this is our general thing, because I know it's going to be squared because it's a U-shaped graph. So I know I have this general parent function. And then my h and my k. So my h is that, this is still my h. So my h, the opposite of +4, ends up being -4. That doesn't change. Oh, excuse me. So the next part, here's my k. That's my k. The opposite of -2 is +2. That part hasn't changed. Now, the only thing that I'm going to change, because this is a SAD graph, is a negative sign. I have to put that negative sign in there because that is SAD. So go ahead. And that's the only part that changes in that graph. So let's do the next one. Let's do this one. So this is what shape, you ask yourself? And you should say, oh, V. Oh, yeah. So a V graph is called an absolute value. I'm just going to put absolute value graph. And then that general shape is y minus k is equal to a, because I still have that a. And then we have those bars, those nice strong bars, and then x minus h, and then those bars. And remember, if a is positive, then it's going to be happy, and it points up. If a is negative, then it's going to be sad, and it's going to be a sad V shape. So we're going to find our vertex. Nothing's changed, so I find my vertex. That's my point where it changes direction. So it's going up, 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 changes right there, and then it goes down, 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 down. So in this case, when we go through, this point right here for that vertex is over 1 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4. So 1, 4. So my description means right 1, and then up 4. Okay, that part doesn't change. Now, this only thing changes is my direction. Instead of opening up, it opens down, so we call it SAD. That's my description. The domain, again, the x values don't change because I can continue with this graph on and on forever. So that x values don't change, so those are all we. And now we're going to talk about our range. So I have to go for my vertex, and it goes all the way down. I transfer this over to the y-axis, and then I go down. So that y value, it's going down, so it has to be less than, and then the highest point, that peak, is 4. So now the next one is we got to do the function rule. So y is equal to, I'm going to leave a space, and I've got absolute value of x. So this time, when I find, it's the same thing. So when I look for, that right there is my h. So the opposite of +1 is -1. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my k. So I've got 4, that's k. The opposite of +4 is -4. And then what happens is Then you're going to have, oh, this is sad. Because this is sad, this has to be a negative in front of all of that. That's your A value. So that's my A. When A is sad, you're just going to plug in that negative. Okay, so now we're going to do reflection. And this time with reflection, you have I'm going to give you the function rule. So now when I give you the function rule,